The first thing you hear is not the engine, it is laughter. Sharp, careless laughter echoing across the dusty North African road as a column of German tanks rolls forward under the burning sun. It is April 1942, somewhere west of Tobruk, and the Afrika Korps believes it owns this land. The convoy moves with confidence, engines steady, tracks grinding sand into fine powder. To the German tank crews, this is routine. Another supply run, another quiet stretch of desert. And somewhere ahead, hidden behind low ridges and broken terrain, something waits. The men in the Panzer III tanks feel superior. They had seen the British and American light tanks before. Thin armor, small guns, fast but fragile, the kind of machine you mocked before destroying it. Earlier reports had painted a clear picture. The M3 Stuart, as the Americans called it, was quick but weak. Its 37mm gun struggled against German armor. Its silhouette was high, its armor thin. German crews had nicknamed it Tommy Cooker, suggesting it burned easily when hit. In their eyes, it was not a serious threat. Something to chase, not fear. Lieutenant James Carter of the U.S. 1st Armored Division studied the map spread across his lap. The desert looked endless, but the terrain held subtle features. Small ridges, shallow depressions, rocky outcrops, places where a tank could disappear if positioned carefully. Intelligence from British reconnaissance had reported a German convoy moving through this sector. Fuel trucks, ammunition carriers, and a small escort of Panzer IIIs. Not a large force, but dangerous enough. His orders were simple: harass, disrupt, withdraw. But Carter saw opportunity for something precise. He commanded 6 M3 Stuart Light Tanks. On paper, they were outmatched. German guns had longer range. Their armor was thicker. But Carter understood something the enemy did not expect. Speed, positioning, and surprise could turn weakness into strength. The Stuart could move faster than a Panzer III. Reposition quickly, strike where the enemy was not looking. By mid-morning, Carter's unit took position behind a series of low dunes overlooking the narrow track the convoy would use. The desert was quiet, almost too quiet. Inside the tanks, crews checked weapons, adjusted optics, and waited. Sweat ran down their backs despite ventilation. Metal amplified the heat. Every second stretched. Every sound mattered. Carter's plan depended on timing. He would not engage the German tanks head-on. That would be suicide. Instead, he aimed for the vulnerable parts of the convoy. Supply trucks, fuel carriers. Without them, even the strongest tanks could not continue. He would strike fast, create chaos, and disappear before the Germans could organize a response. Around 10:15 a.m., a faint dust cloud appeared on the horizon. Through binoculars, Carter made out shapes, trucks, tanks. The convoy approached exactly as predicted. Engines were brought to readiness. Guns aligned. Safety catches checked. Silence filled the cramped turrets. The moment was close. As the German convoy moved into the kill zone, their mood remained relaxed. Some crews had hatches open to let in fresh air. A few commanders scanned casually, not expecting anything unusual. The desert had been quiet for days. The idea of an ambush by light tanks did not cross their minds. To them, the biggest threat would have been British artillery or aircraft, not a handful of American Stuarts. Then, everything changed in seconds. Carter gave the signal. The first Stuart surged forward from behind the dune, engine roaring as it crested the ridge. Almost instantly, the others followed, emerging from concealment like shadows solidifying. The sudden movement caught the German convoy completely off guard. Confusion spread. Shapes appeared where there had been none. Engines revved where silence had ruled. The first shot came from Carter's tank. A sharp crack, the recoil pushing through the hull. The 37mm shell slammed into a fuel truck near the center of the convoy. The impact was immediate and violent. Flames erupted, a column of black smoke rising into the clear sky. More Stuarts opened fire, targeting trucks and soft vehicles with precision. The German crews reacted, but not quickly enough. Their assumption that these were weak tanks delayed their response. Some commanders hesitated, assessing the situation. Others shouted orders, but sudden chaos disrupted communication. The convoy, tightly packed on the narrow track, became a trap. Carter's tanks did not stop moving. They fired on the move, weaving bursts of speed with brief halts to aim. The Stuart's strength was not its gun, but its agility, repositioned faster than German tanks could track. Each American tank focused on a specific target, creating overlapping fields of fire that amplified effectiveness. Within the first minute, several trucks were burning. Ammunition carriers began exploding, sending shrapnel across the convoy. The Panzer IIIs finally began to respond, rotating turrets, searching for targets. Their guns were more powerful, but clear shots were scarce. Smoke, fire, and movement made aiming difficult. One German tank fired. The shells struck the sand behind a Stuart, throwing dust but causing no damage. Another managed to hit an American tank. The armor held, but the crew felt the shock. Still, they kept moving. Carter shifted focus. The initial strike had achieved its purpose. The convoy was in chaos. He directed 2 tanks to flank left, using terrain to approach German tanks from an angle. Remaining tanks continued to harass, keeping the enemy distracted. The flanking maneuver was risky but effective. The German tanks focused on immediate threats did not notice until it was too late. Stuarts appeared on their side, firing into weaker armor sections. One Panzer III took a hit near its track, sabling movement. Another was struck in the rear. Smoke seeped from its engine compartment. Inside the German vehicles, the mood had shifted completely. Laughter vanished, replaced by urgency and confusion. Orders shouted, but coordination broke down. The convoy, meant to move as a unit, became isolated elements reacting individually. Carter knew he could not stay long. Longer exposure meant higher risk. German reinforcements or air support could arrive. He checked his watch, then gave the signal to withdraw. Withdrawal was controlled. Stuarts fired as they disengaged, maintaining pressure while moving back, never presenting easy targets. Within minutes, they disappeared into the desert. The German convoy burned. For a few long seconds after the Americans vanished, silence settled, not complete, for fires crackled and ammunition cooked off, but a stunned pause. German commanders stood half-exposed in turrets, scanning the empty horizon. Disbelief settled in. This was not supposed to happen. Oberleutnant Karl Pfizer later wrote that the attack felt too fast to understand. He saw flashes, heard impacts, then suddenly was surrounded by fire and smoke. He admitted underestimation, not of courage, but of method. Back with Carter's unit, mood was controlled. No cheering, just short confirmations over radio. One tank reported minor damage. Another confirmed all crew safe. In desert warfare, survival after contact was as critical as victory during it. As they pulled away, the dunes that had hidden them now protected escape. Engines stayed low, no unnecessary movement. The Germans would be alert now. The element of surprise was gone, at least for today. Carter glanced back through his periscope. Thin columns of black smoke rose far behind, not triumph, but confirmation the plan worked. That afternoon, under the harsh North African sun, German recovery crews moved carefully through the damaged convoy. Burned-out trucks, twisted metal, scattered supplies, fuel the most valuable resource in the desert war, had gone up in flames within minutes. Ammunition losses would take time to replace, and time in this campaign was everything. Officers gathered near the damaged tanks, speaking in low, serious tones. This was no longer a minor nuisance. This was a tactical problem. Small, fast units could strike like this and disappear. Every convoy was vulnerable. Every movement needed more protection. Every route needed reconsideration. The laughter from the morning felt distant now, almost embarrassing. What made the ambush effective was not luck. Carter had not tried to fight German tanks on equal terms. He had avoided their strengths, targeted their weaknesses. Many early Allied commanders struggled with this. By 1942, lessons were learned quickly. The Stuart, despite its limitations, had one clear advantage: speed. On open desert ground, it could reach 58 kilometers per hour. That speed allowed it to choose when to fight and when to leave. Combined with coordination and clear communication, it became more than a light tank. It became a tool for disruption. In the weeks that followed, similar tactics appeared more often. Small units striking supply lines, hitting fast, then vanishing. Not every mission succeeded. Some ended badly. But the idea spread. German commanders, including those under General Erwin Rommel, adapted. Convoys were reorganized, escorts strengthened, reconnaissance became aggressive. Adaptation takes time. In war, even a small delay is costly. Back in American lines, Carter's report was filed with careful detail. Time of contact, number of enemy vehicles, ammunition used, damage observed. It was not a story, it was a record. Between the lines, confidence grew not overconfidence, but belief that smart tactics could level the field against a well-trained, well-equipped enemy. Imagine sitting inside a Stuart. Cramped space, constant noise, heat that never leaves. Armor would not save you if hit directly, yet you move forward because speed, not protection, defines success. That is where tension lives, not just in explosions or ambush, but in acting despite risk. As the North African campaign continued through 1942, battles grew larger and more intense. El Maine would soon become a turning point. New tanks, new strategies, new commanders, but small actions like Carter's ambush remained crucial. Wars are shaped not only by massive battles, but by moments like this. Quick decisions, calculated risks, seconds where everything changes. The M3 Stuart served in reconnaissance, flanking support, fast strikes. It would never replace heavier tanks, nor was it meant to. Its value was different. Used correctly, it did exactly what it did that April morning. Surprise the enemy, break their rhythm, disappear before response. Years later, veterans from both sides remembered moments like this more vividly than large battles. Not because of scale, but because of impact. The shock of the unexpected, the sudden shift from control to chaos. That first echo of laughter rolling across the desert feels fragile in hindsight. Confidence without awareness vanishes in seconds. On that road west of Tobruk, it did. In its place came respect, not for the machine, but for how it was used. It was not the size of the tank that decided the outcome, but the way it moved, struck, and the moment it chose. That is what turned a light tank into something far more dangerous than anyone in that convoy expected.